In this video, we're going to go over moving from design drawings to construction drawings. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to split the wall into its various different components. So I'm going to go up here, and I don't know if we have one in here already, but we're basically going to create a new wall type. Oh, there we go, 2x6. So I'm going to change. I'm just going to make note of the exterior dimensions. 20.5, 25, 6. We're going to create a new wall type that's just exterior. And we're just going to have this end part here. So we're going to do 1/2 inch ply, and then 1/2 inch strapping, and then I'm going to change to 3/4 inch clad. This project, we're actually going to have exposed studs on the interior. So we're going to not actually add an interior finish. Typically we'd add another interior finish on there, but for this project we're not going to do that. We'll call this finish 4. So I'm just going to go make this 2x4 and duplicate. I'm going to call this inch by 2 inch strapping. Now we're probably actually going to make it 3 inch. Not that this really matters a whole lot. So I spelled that wrong there. So it looks a little bit funny at the moment, but what we're going to do is we're going to draw just a 2x6 wall on the interior. I'm just going to fillet these in here. Just going to join these. that. And then the other thing I'm going to do is just join the exterior wall to the interior wall, and then that'll make any doors or windows we have cut in there, it will cut both walls. If you're going to add an interior finish, the step would be to go down to interior and just create interior finish. Put this down, delete, delete, and then you just draw that on the interior here. So here's the interior finish, and you do the same thing. You just join it with the next layer, and then it would cut those elements. Like I said, we're going to leave the studs exposed. So I'm going to do, we're going to have an interior finish in this bathroom here. So I'm just going to drag that down to here. And then I'm going to mirror this, go in the other direction. And then just do a little join. There we go. So now to model the studs, we're going to use the HSB Timber plugin. And we're going to model, we're going to do frame surface. We're going to select the edges, but before that I just want to make sure that these walls are going up to the proper height. So we want this, instead of being unconnected, we want it to go up to first floor, top of wall. And then we're just going to go frame surfaces, and we're going to click the interior edge of all this interior wall here. And we're going to click finish right here. Do 2x6 studs, click OK. There you go, you can see we have the studs in there. We're just going to select these and we're just going to change the fixed spacing to 60 inches on center. And then typically we would have, so typically in the corners we would do advanced framing, so I'm just going to move this down a little bit. We're going to copy this stud. We're going to copy and not move it. I think that's what I did wrong last time. There we go. Really don't need that much of an overlap, but just need enough to get in the corner there. And then we're just going to rotate with copy. That's what we would typically do in advanced frame corners, so that allows more insulation right there. I'm not going to repeat it for the other corners, but that's what you would typically do. So now let's just go to a 3D view. So you can see, I hide all these. We have framing. So the reason why we do the double wall layer is now we can just hide the the interior wall, and we can actually leave the exterior wall there just to show the framing. We could also we will also at some point frame a header over the doors, the garage doors, and all that. The next step, though, is we're going to do the roof framing, which looks like that roof got screwed up a little bit there, so I'm just going to fix that quickly. Just move this down. And yeah, that looks better. We're basically going to do the same concept, except for on the roof we're actually not going to model the interior, or we're not going to model the interior 2x6 as I did with the walls. On the roof we're just going to model the exterior, and so I'm just going to duplicate this, and we're not really sure of the actual roofing material right now, but we're basically just going to take out this layer there. So I'm just going to duplicate. Call that. I'm going to delete this interior. The 2x6 material. And then I'm going to go to the east elevation. I'm just going to bring this back up so it matches that height there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to model, I don't need to see the trees, I don't really need to see that either, so we get some following posts there we've got to fix too. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to model the surfaces. So we're going to click the underside of these roof surfaces. And then click finish here, and this will likely be probably a 2x8 or 2x10 material. And we'll have to wait for the engineer to get back with us on the exact sizing of that. We have our exposed rafter tails now. There's some weird things happening like this. Don't worry about it too much, but if you want, you can unpin and delete them. The next thing we need to do is we need to do the major structure in the roof. So I'm going to click. Actually, what I'm going to first hide all this stuff here so we can actually see what's going on. This is an interior roof layer. We're actually going to delete this for purposes of this project. And so and then these two roofs we're going to make them exterior materials as well. And just go back to elevation. And yep, so now they line up again. Looks like that got a little screwed up. So I'm just going to move that over. Probably have to do that with the other side. Oh, maybe not. I guess it was locked properly. Oh, yeah. So that has a problem there too. So we're just going to bring that in. And then we'll just add a fascia board on these gable ends here, these raised gable ends, so they have that thickness. So going back to major materials, we're going to frame edges. We're going to model, and we're going to select these edges here. Looks like them all. We're gonna do this as probably something a little bit beefier. Probably 6 by 12 will do. And then we're going to change the connection. Let's see if that does. I don't think that's going to work properly. So the first thing we're going to do, we're going to basically create this joint right here, and that will be connected with a metal bracket. But the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of all these segments I have here. So I'm just going to grab that dot and hold the Shift key until it drags down to that point, and then I'm just going to delete this other member there, and then I'm going to do the same over here. So I'm going to grab that dot, hold the Shift key, and drag it down until it snaps. And then delete the short piece. Again, grab the dot, drag it down to the end here. Tab to select the short piece, delete it. And then we're going to do a miter up here under where it normally says dovetail. We're going to go to miter cut. We're just going to select all three of these members, and click the finish button here, and it'll miter them together. So that's kind of the roof structure there, and like I said, that'll be likely connected with some metal brackets as per the engineer, and the engineer might specify some tie rods to kind of further hold it together. And now what we'll do is we'll just go, I'm going to duplicate this 3D view and hide everything. Must have permanently hid all of those other moments. I'm just going to unhide. Don't want to unhide the survey point and project base point. Unhide elements. There we go. Now we're just going to go to foundation plan, I think. And I'm going to go to first floor, and I'm just going to bring these columns in line here. Probably afford to get rid of one of these columns. There's a little bit too many there. That's not terrible. I'll leave it for now. And then tab key, just bring that in. tab key, bring that in, and just copy one to the very end. We're just going to duplicate this 3D view now, view with detailing, and then we're going to hide this. Hide that. Hide that category. Hide that category. So we can see all the framing. We obviously have this here. I'm just going to add these work planes. And delete that, and then just fill this in. And do the same over on this side. It's not liking me. There we go. We have our roof structure. We didn't do the floor structure, but it's again same concept. Then the other thing we would do is let me go back to this one for a second. We're just going to put a top plate on, so we're just going to do HSB timber, frame edges, and we're going to go to the top of this stud wall. Hit finish, 2x6. And what we have is basically the top plate on top of the walls here. Typically we do a double top plate, so we would do a double top plate. You would just copy this, paste it in the same place, and then go to the Z offset value and change that to negative 1.5 inches. And that will drop it, hopefully, maybe not. Negative 1.5 inches. Oh, I guess we don't want the Z, we want the Y. That's the problem. There we go. So that's kind of how you start to frame a building. Again, the floor is the same concept. You just want to change the actual floor structure. Let's look through a section here. You want to change the floor structure so it's just the top two layers, and then add a beam system underneath to do that. And then here's a deck, so you'd leave this 1.5 inch deck material there, and then underneath as well. So that's how to frame using the HSB timber plugin. If you don't have that plugin, you can do something very similar, by doing beam systems, and you just have to set your work plane to the layer that you want to show it at. So as this kind of diagram shows. If you like this video, please subscribe, and if you have any questions, please add them into the comment section below, and I'd be happy to do more videos.